What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be recapping all of the information we got out of the brand new campfire chat we had today regarding the mid-season update as well as season 4. So we have some really good news for you guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing we learned about was the vampiric powers and how they're going to be implementing them into season 3. So they're bringing back 6 different vampiric powers, and they're coming back all as aspects. And I'll go ahead and show you guys those real quick, and we'll read over them. So for our first vampiric power, we got Metamorphosis. I know that's one everybody was hoping to get, but they have tweaked these vampiric powers to kind of bring them in line with the current meta of the game. So let's go ahead and read over it. When you evade, you turn into a cloud of bats, becoming unstoppable for 2.5 seconds. Enemies along your path take physical damage and are inflicted with Vampiric Curse. Evade's cooldown is increased by 5 to 10 seconds. So we're now getting that same unstoppable. However, it's going to be for a lower duration, 2.5 seconds, which was the base value, I believe, of the original Metamorphosis power. And then we're also going to see an increase to our evade cooldown. So do be aware that if you are running Juggernaut aspect, you're going to have a pretty long cooldown on your evade. Then moving on to the second vampiric power, that's going to be Moonrise, and I was hoping for Ravenous, but we'll settle with Moonrise. And let's go ahead and read over that. So it says, damaging an enemy with a basic skill grants you 4% attack speed for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Upon reaching maximum stacks, you enter a Vampiric Blood Rage, gaining 40 to 80% multiplicative basic skill damage and 15% movement speed for 10 seconds. So basically it works as it did in Season 2, however that multiplicative damage bonus to our basic skills was brought down quite a bit. Now I would like to add, even though they've added the new gauntlets that increase your overall damage with your basic skills, as well as the aspect of adaptability which also increases the damage of your basic skills, the basic skills are still pretty lackluster in terms of damage when you do decide to build them out. So hopefully having Moonrise back in the game will help increase that damage overall and make those basic attack builds much more viable as we go forward into Season 3. They're also going to be bringing back Hectic as well, and it reads out, after casting 5 basic skills, one of your active cooldowns is reduced by 2 to 4 seconds. So if I remember correctly, in Season 2 it was 2 basic skill uses and you would get that reset on the duration of your cooldowns. However, 5 basic skills is still pretty easy to obtain, especially if you're using a basic attack build, so it's still definitely a decent aspect overall, and the fact that it is a utility aspect will probably help a lot of those players who don't want to use a pair of Flicker Step boots to cool down their ultimate. Now moving on to the last set of vampiric powers we're going to be getting back, we have Accursed Touch, which was one of the better vampiric powers of Season 2 because it allowed a lot of classes to obtain vulnerability, and that was something that was sorely missing from some of the different classes in the game. So this reads out, up to a 20 to 35% chance for your skills to inflict Vampiric Curse on enemies. Enemies afflicted with Vampiric Curse are also vulnerable. Vampiric Curse's stored souls deal 20 to 50% increased damage. So that's a nice vampiric power to get back, especially for those builds that do lack that guaranteed vulnerability. This will be a nice addition to those builds. Then for those overpower builds, we're getting Blood Boiling, and that reads, when your core skills overpower an enemy, you spawn 3 volatile blood drops. Collecting a volatile blood drop causes it to explode, dealing a varied amount of physical damage around you. But the big part of it is every 20 seconds, your next skill is a guaranteed overpower. So that was the really useful thing about this vampiric power in Season 2, is that it just gave you another way of getting a guaranteed overpower attack on your different overpower builds. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Undying power coming back, and it's still pretty powerful, so let's go ahead and read it. When you cast a skill, you heal for 0.5 to 2% life, double this bonus while below 50% life. Now for me, I'm actually happy to see this one coming back, especially because I love to play a Stormclaw Druid, so this was one of the better vampiric powers that really helped me tank up my character without having to invest in too much damage reduction for Season 2, so I'm definitely glad that they brought this one back, and I will probably go ahead and be using this one depending on where I can fit it in on my Stormclaw Druid build. Now, I would like to say overall, I'm not too happy with how they decided to implement these vampiric powers back into the game. I was actually hoping for them to bring them back in some way, shape, or form where we wouldn't have to remove existing aspects or items from our builds in order to use these powers. I was hoping for maybe a smaller version of the vampiric power system that we could utilize, or another great idea I heard was that they could possibly come back as gems and you could slot them in one of your gem slots. However, I do feel like some of these vampiric powers are still worth using. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult to fit them into your current builds. Now, we also learned that they are going to be removing a lot of the snapshots that are in the game currently, with plans to remove even more in the future. And the biggest piece of information coming from that is that they have decided to lock our gear as well as our skills and Paragon boards when we do enter the gauntlets, so that way there's no chance for anybody to use those exploits. However, if we do look back at the past of how they implement their different patches, I'm sure there will be some things that slip through the cracks, so I do expect that there will be some kind of shenanigans happening with the leaderboards when they are implemented on Tuesday. We also found out there are going to be some really nice class buffs coming to the game and no real nerfs going into the end of Season 3, so all of you barbarians out there can have a collective sigh of relief. Some of the highlights were necromancers will be seeing some substantial buffs overall for the class, as well as companions and minions will be seeing a massive buff to their damage. Now, there were other notable mentions, but we will probably go over those tomorrow when they release the official patch notes before they update the game on March 5th, which is again next Tuesday. Now, they did mention they wanted some feedback from players on whether or not they would be okay with uneven class updates for the game. So said they have like 4 new uniques for one class, maybe 2 uniques for every other class. Would you guys rather have them implement all of those uniques when they're ready, or would you like them to disperse them evenly over a period of time? I personally don't really care what they do. I think, honestly, they could just implement them as they have them ready. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. And as always, go ahead and let them know on any forum or post that you prefer to use. They're also going to be making a small buff to the Uber crafting system, so it will no longer take 5 sparks. Instead, it will take 4 sparks to craft an Uber unique. However, I personally found this to be a bit of a disappointment. I would be perfectly fine if they left it at 5 sparks to craft an Uber unique. However, I really wish they would take those sparks and actually implement them into some of the in-game content. Say, for instance, tier 100 dungeons. If we had a 5 to 10% chance to get a spark drop after opening the completion chest for a tier 100 vault or nightmare dungeon, it would definitely give us an incentive to actually run that content as opposed to lower tier dungeons to get that 925 gear that we're currently getting. Now, we're also finally going to be getting our gauntlets as well as the leaderboards coming on March the 5th. Again, that is next Tuesday. And we did find out that they are officially going to be set at a tier 70 Nightmare Dungeon difficulty. So that's definitely going to allow for a lot more build viability going into leaderboards. And honestly, guys, you're going to be able to go full glass cannon and clear that content as fast as humanly possible to get the highest score that you can get within the 8 minutes of allotted time. Also, you will be able to try to get top rank in any of the leaderboards you want to. So if you want to do softcore and hardcore, if you want to do softcore, hardcore in all of the classes, you can absolutely do that. However, do be aware that they did say the leaderboards will be global, so you're going to be competing against every single player in the entire world that plays Diablo 4. So good luck to you guys out there trying to get that top 10 rank. I know I'll be trying to get that top 10 in hardcore on my druid this season. Now, the biggest news for me from the Campfire chat is that we are going to be getting a PTR server for Season 4. So we're going to be able to test out pretty much all of that content. They did say they're going to hold some things back as a surprise, but we're going to be able to test out all that content and give them their feedback so that way Season 4 can be as smooth of a launch as possible. Now, I am incredibly excited for this, so I cannot wait till they have that next Campfire chat regarding the PTR server, which we will be covering on this channel, so do be on the lookout for that. They also said that everyone will have access to the server if you own Diablo 4 on the Battle.net launcher. So I definitely look forward to getting my hands on that content, testing everything out, and I cannot wait to play with you guys on the PTR server. And then last but not least, they did tease that Season 4 will probably have a substantial increase to the in-game content for Diablo 4, and that we will be able to test out some of this in-game content on that PTR server. But that wraps up all of the major news that we got from the Campfire chat, and they will be releasing the official patch notes tomorrow, and I will be going over those as well, so do be on the lookout for that video. But as to how I felt overall about the Campfire chat, I think the updates for Season 3 are nothing really too significant in my opinion. However, that PTR server coming for Season 4 is insane. I cannot wait to test that stuff out, and I am super excited for Season 4. I think that is going to be a massive season for Diablo 4, and I think it's going to rekindle that flame that a lot of people lost for Diablo 4 going into Season 1. But as always, let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Did you like the Campfire chat? Did you not like the Campfire chat? What were your highlights? What were your lowlights of the Campfire chat? And are you looking forward to this PTR server as much as I am? But with all that being said, I hope you guys are having a great day or a great night, depending on wherever you're from. And peace out, guys. I will see you in the next one.